parks in Tucson to choose from. If there's such a thing as getting to a good place in life, this is it.
English Rose Tea Room in Carefree, serving afternoon tea and traditional British fare in a Victorian tea room atmosphere. Open for lunch and afternoon tea 7 days a week. Information at 480-488-4812, carefreetea.com.
Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
Programs on Arizona PBS are funded in part by a gift from the estate of Miriam Gordon. For more information on how to include Arizona PBS in your estate plans, call 602-496-8888.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World. When you want to be more connected, friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us online. Coming soon to Arizona PBS.
Join us Tuesday evening at 9 for an Arizona Horizon special, a recap of President Trump's first State of the Union address. We'll get reaction from Arizona's congressional delegation and have full analysis by Arizona political experts. A State of the Union recap, Tuesday at 9 p.m. on Arizona Horizon.
Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from
Enjoy family fun at the Heard Museum Guild Indian Fair and Market with authentic art pieces for sale, cultural performances, and a celebration of American Indian artists from across the U.S. Saturday and Sunday, March 4th and 5th. Tickets on sale now at heard.org/fair.
Deanne Griebel, now with Moores & Cabot Investments, serving investors since 1890, proudly supports quality programming on 8 Arizona PBS, 480-725-9602.
From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
President Trump will address Congress tonight for the first time. What Arizona leaders hope he'll say.
And Jewish cemeteries and community centers around the country are facing threats. How the Jewish community in Phoenix is responding.
Plus, the Arizona Teacher of the Year is urging lawmakers to increase teacher salaries.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Katie Beery.
And I'm Tyler Paley. Thank you for joining us. It was a little more than a month ago that President Donald Trump was at the U.S. Capitol to take the oath of office. In about 2 hours, he'll be back for his first address to a joint session of Congress. And a lot has changed in the short amount of time as the president has charged through the first month in office. Cronkite News reporter Tyler Fingert is in the Capitol with a preview.
Tonight, the president is expected to lay out his legislative agenda, which includes military spending, replacing Obamacare, and something that's very important to our state, border security. Our team here on Capitol Hill spoke to several of Arizona's congressional delegation today about tonight's speech, and their opinions split down party lines.
You know, I think some of the aspects that we're going to look at is his proposal for infrastructure, what he's looking at as far as some of the supplemental budget applications. So it's going to be a good evening to see some more specifics.
He'll talk about the wall. He'll talk about those kind of sensationalist, untrue issues going on in this country relative to immigration and border security. And in doing so, gloss over the reality.
With recent polls showing that President Trump is facing low popularity, tonight will give him the chance to reach the largest audience since his inauguration. Our team here in Washington will be speaking with several of Arizona's congressional delegation members after the speech to get their opinion on what happened inside the House chamber. We'll have that on our website, cronkitenews.azpbs.org, and of course tomorrow evening right here on Cronkite News. At the U.S. Capitol, Tyler Fingert, Cronkite News.
At the address, President Trump will host guests whose family members have been killed by undocumented immigrants. But Arizona Representatives Raul Grijalva and Ruben Gallego have also invited guests whose families have been affected by immigration. Reporter Anthony Marroquin talked to the Reyes Garcia siblings who are in Washington to get their mother back from Mexico.
Her presence is the one thing that I miss the most, and her kisses and her hugs.
Jacqueline and Angel Rayos Garcia's mother was deported nearly 1 month ago from their home in Mesa.
We haven't had dinner with my mom in weeks. The house is empty. You can feel the emptiness. Literally, it feels so empty.
So today they're joining Congressman Ruben Gallego and Raul Grijalva at President Trump's address to Congress with one simple message.
We aren't criminals.
Since taking office, the Trump administration has taken a number of actions to make good on the president's promise to get tough on immigration.
We're getting some very, very bad players out of this country. Drug lords, gang members, heads of gangs, killers, murderers.
The Congressman Gallego says the hardline stance only makes America less safe.
When you start randomly picking up people that are the cooks, the cleaners, the carpenters of the world, people that are raising their families, you're going to shut down that whole community. They're not going to tell you where the bad guys are.
Democratic leaders also say that type of rhetoric unfairly portrays everyone who is here illegally as a major criminal.
Then you listen to the stories and see the faces of Jacqueline and Angel, and you see that's a family.
But the Rayos Garcias aren't letting the rhetoric bring them down.
We're using it as motivation to fight harder to bring my mother back.
In Washington, Anthony Marroquin, Cronkite News.
Trump's speech tonight may try to bring America together, but many Democrats and Republicans in Arizona remain divided. Cronkite News reporter Danielle Kernkamp spoke to different advocacy groups to get their perspectives.
I reached out to more than a dozen organizations this morning to learn more about what Democrats and Republicans in Arizona hope to see in Trump's speech tonight.
I will be watching tonight.
I will watch parts of it. I will watch as much as I possibly can.
They may watch, but they won't see eye to eye.
I don't expect him to, in his speech, to reflect the true needs of the people of this country.
Kim Owens is the executive director of a Republican women's leadership training program, and she says that even though she disagreed with some of former President Barack Obama's policies, it was still important to watch his speeches.
He was my president. If I agreed with him or not, the only way I could form a true opinion based on fact was to hear the words and determine for myself what I could or couldn't agree with.
Lois Burstein, the co-founder of Roadrunner Democrats, believes health care is a topic that needs to be discussed.
This is absurd. We need to support Social Security, we need to support Medicare, we need a Medicare system for all, and by raising the cap, it would take care of all of this.
I want to hear how he's going to make 2017 policies match up with 2017 America. That whether that be on taxation, education, the workplace, the military, how are we looking at things today that really affect how we live today?
Going into the speech tonight, the latest NBC Wall Street Journal poll has Trump's latest approval rating at 44%. Cronkite News wants to hear from Arizonans following the address. Share your opinions and tag us on Twitter and Facebook at Cronkite News. Live in the Media Center, Danielle Kernkamp, Cronkite News.
Jewish community centers nationwide have been receiving bomb threats in waves, and yesterday they hit Arizona. Cronkite News reporter Natalie Taranjoli spoke with leaders in the Jewish community about the impact.
Arizona has long been home to about 100,000 Jews, but one rabbi in Phoenix told me Arizona has never seen anti-Semitism to the degree that it is being seen today, so they aren't taking these threats lightly. The Jewish Community Center of North America reports the number of bomb threats to community centers has now grown to 100, and that's just since the beginning of the year. There have now been 5 waves of threats made in 33 states and 2 Canadian provinces.
There is unprecedented anti-Semitism in America that we're experiencing today. Unprecedented anti-Semitism here in Arizona that we haven't seen before.
On Monday alone, there were 31 bomb threats made to community centers and day schools, including centers in Scottsdale and Tucson. The JCC of North America released this statement in response. Anti-Semitism of this nature should not and must not be allowed to endure in our communities. The Justice Department, Homeland Security, the FBI, and the White House, alongside Congress and local officials, must speak out, and speak out forcefully against this scourge of anti-Semitism impacting communities across the country. Yanklowitz said historically, Jews have felt safe in America and Arizona. While the threats are concerning, they say they are not afraid.
Unfortunately, the Jewish people has a very long history of pogroms and crusades and Holocaust. And we're very strong from that history. So rather than be afraid, our community is prepared to respond in full force.
The Anti-Defamation League of Arizona calls the bomb threats disturbing.
There's fear, because it's not just the institution that it affects, it's also the neighborhood, and it's also the entire community.
We will never take a threat lightly. We'll always take it seriously. At the same time, we'll never back down in fear.
The Anti-Defamation League of Arizona advises Jewish community centers and day schools to remain vigilant and make sure they're following their security policies. In the broadcast center, Natalie Tarangeli, Cronkite News.
Teachers are notoriously underpaid and often have to reach into their own pockets to pay for classroom supplies.
And one Arizona teacher is asking lawmakers to increase educator salaries. Coming up on Cronkite News, how the Arizona Teacher of the Year is trying to grab the attention of Governor Doug Ducey and increase pay.
Plus, a way to hold the future of your family in your hand. We take a look at a company 3D printing images from inside the womb.
I'm Scott Pelley, anchor and managing editor of the CBS Evening News. In our changing media landscape, it is crucial for journalism education to ensure a commitment to the truth, unbiased reporting, strong ethics, unwavering fairness, and above all else, accuracy. These are the hallmarks of ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. It's a place where students can innovate and transform the news industry while always upholding the values of the school's namesake. The Cronkite School at ASU, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
Discover so much more at azpbs.org/schedule, where it's easier than ever to find out what's on Arizona PBS. Access interactive digital and printable program guides, repeat times, and full episode descriptions. Watch program previews of best bets for the coming week. Search by title to find your favorite shows. You can even add programs to your calendar and get email reminders when they're about to start. It's easier than ever to find out what's on Arizona PBS. Discover so much more at azpbs.org/schedule. When you want to be more connected, friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us online.
She's Arizona's 2016 Teacher of the Year, and she's not happy with the way the Arizona legislature is funding public schools. Cronkite News reporter McKenna Delgarno talked with Christine Marsh to find out why.
Christine Marsh is looking at papers from her high school English class, but the Arizona Teacher of the Year would assign a low grade if she were assessing the state's education budget.
If they're not going to make us better and get us beyond being funded 49th in the nation, let's at least have a couple of years where they're not making it worse.
Marsh says there's a teacher shortage in Arizona. She teamed up with the coalition AZ Schools Now to write a letter to Governor Ducey in January. They're still waiting for a response.
The letter was about all of the money that is going to K-12 education to funnel it into teacher pay.
The coalition is asking to raise teacher salaries from 0.4 to 4%. It says this can be accomplished by combining $95 million of already identified new funding along with several other revenue sources, including a pause in tax cuts and freezing low-income private school tax credits. Right behind me is the state capitol where Christine Marsh and Arizona Schools Now hand-delivered this letter to Governor Ducey.
They would be getting back to us to set up a meeting, but we have not heard anything.
A spokesman for Governor Ducey says he's in the works of setting up a meeting with current and past recipients of the Teacher of the Year award, and that he values alternative insights. However, the spokesman told me the governor believes low-income tax credits are important too. Marsh is hopeful to get that private meeting, but she thinks something as important as education should be a public debate too. In Scottsdale, McKenna Delgarno, Cronkite News.
Governor Ducey's office says he visits several schools a month to discuss education issues.
The Arizona Board of Regents met today to find a new president for the University of Arizona. Current U of A President Ann Weaver Hart will step down at the end of her contract in June of 2018. The Board of Regents announced two candidates for her replacement, Seth Araman Ponchanathan and Robert Clayton Robbins. Ponchanathan is the Executive Vice President and Chief Research Innovation Officer for Arizona State University's Knowledge Enterprise Development, and Robbins is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Texas Medical Center.
They've been involved in cutting-edge research, involvement in research activities. So we were trying to look for those candidates that could forward the University of Arizona in their mission.
The board will interview the 2 candidates on March 6th, and they will tour the university on the 8th.
The University of Arizona College of Medicine in downtown Phoenix opened the Biomedical Sciences Partnership Building last week. Its goal, to bring researchers and scientists together to discover new solutions for the most devastating health issues. The Center for Applied Nanobioscience and Medicine is one of the 5 labs in the new building. Researchers work, test technologies, and conduct molecular analysis that could one day help find faster and better treatments in the cases of nuclear accidents or even terror attacks.
Really trying to bridge, in fact, the technology between really the clinics, the patient, and ultimately the community. So we are really ultimately impacting the healthcare delivery system at large.
Researchers are working on projects to support rapid DNA testing, optical biometrics, and even a chip that stimulates the human gut to help in nutrition and medication. They dedicate years of service to our country, but once home, veterans may struggle to get the care they need.
Coming up on Cronkite News, how the VA is bringing health services right to veterans' doors.
And it was a snowy day in Flagstaff, but how many inches did they actually get? I have that and your full forecast coming up.
I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life now. All my dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now. Right about now.
Officially from 36, and he hooks it in. Arizona State wins. Keeping one deep, and it is caught. Jalen Strong. Do you believe it?
The idea of seeing what your child will look like before they're born can be an amazing and emotional experience for parents. Los Angeles Bureau reporter Shintel Del Aguila shows us a new type of technology that enables all parents to be able to bond with their little one before birth.
Like, I get really emotional when I saw it the first time. It's something different.
This is Sandra and Armando's 6th pregnancy, but unlike before, they are able to experience a different bond with their baby girl thanks to 3D printing. Fernando Farias says he came up with this concept while his wife was pregnant. He developed a 3D printer that takes an HD sonogram picture and creates a sculpture for families to enjoy.
And I knew there was something missing in the sonography and ultrasound. I decided to go ahead and 3D print. I actually came across an ultrasound. I extracted the baby, and the rest was history.
His purpose was to create a special bond for all families, especially those who have the disadvantage of not being able to see their child in the womb.
It can help military families. That's something that prior to meeting his child, he will be able to take with him and bond while he's away.
It's great because I can see whatever I want the face of my daughter. And I have something that reminds me the pregnancy of her.
3D print sculptures can take about 4 to 6 hours, depending on the detail as well as the size of the sculpture. The process is done in 3 phases: scan, design, and print. But the end result is well worth the wait.
With my 5th kid, but it was like the 3D, it's nothing compared to this one. This one's more like real.
The starting price for a sculpture is $120, which can be purchased anytime after the first sonogram session. In Los Angeles, Chantel Del Aguila, Cronkite News.
U.S. Olympic gold medalist and ASU swim coach Michael Phelps testified today during an anti-doping hearing on Capitol Hill. Phelps is asking the House Energy and Commerce Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations to help, quote, ensure the system is fair and reliable.
If we allow our confidence in fair play to erode, we will undermine the power of sport and the goals and dreams of future generations. The time to act is now. We must do what is necessary to ensure the system is fair and reliable so we all can believe in it.
Phelps is the most decorated Olympian of all time. He shared his frustration over seeing others cheat and says athletes need to believe the system works.
They once deployed halfway around the globe to fight for our country. Nowadays, driving 15 miles can be a hassle. But in service of Arizona's veterans, the VA is picking up the slack on the mobility front. Cronkite News reporter Anthony Mitchell went to Mesa to find out how Veterans Affairs looks to modernize house calls.
We've been here since 7:30 this morning, and in less than 2 hours, we've already served over 60 veterans, so it's kind of exciting.
For these Mesa retirees, waking up early isn't the problem. But as Army veteran Michael Wayne Springer explains, getting to the almost hour-away outpatient clinic in Gilbert is becoming more of a task.
I know some vets that are in their 80s and 90s that really have a hard time getting around, and they still live at home, you know, with their wives.
This truck, recently acquired from a VA in New York, brings the clinic to those who need it most. The VA looked up vets who were behind on their immunizations and let Charles Bishop know when they'd be in the neighborhood.
I just live down the street here, so one, it was good that they called me, and it was very good that it was really, it was appreciated.
This immunization campaign is just a part of what this 40-foot truck is capable of. It's outfitted with a full-service exam room, and, using onboard Wi-Fi, it can host a virtual house call.
Using this transportable exam station, a qualified nurse can use this stethoscope, this ENT cam, or this Total Exam HD camera to stream HD vitals to a qualified medical professional in the Phoenix VA for non-mobile veterans in need of medical care.
Telehealth nurse Valentine Revish says the turnout has been exciting.
We're targeting different areas across the map to try to service as many veterans as possible.
And with Veteran Affairs estimating a state population of 500,000 vets, this truck is sure to see a lot of miles. In Mesa, Anthony Mitchell, Cronkite News.
About 200,000 of Arizona's veterans are over the age of 70, and the truck has already made stops at some of the largest communities, including Sun City and Surprise.
If you are traveling around the valley today, you may have gotten caught in the rain and the hail.
How much longer will the rain impact our week? Allison Gargaro is in the Weather Center tracking the storm.
It's been a rainy day here in Arizona, but we found some great pictures on Instagram. This is the skyline of downtown Phoenix with lots of clouds overhead. Someone else went hiking today and made a great photo opportunity, as well as finding a rainbow overlooking their house. That was a perfect end to the storm. And across the state right now, we're seeing 30s up in the high country. There was 19 inches of snow in Snowbolt today. So if you plan on heading out skiing this weekend, it is going to be beautiful conditions for that. We see 64 in Lake Havasu and 68 down in Yuma. Now across the valley, we're seeing pretty cool temperatures. We see 65 in Phoenix and 64 up in Scottsdale. So over the past 12 hours, we've been seeing that storm moving with snow, rain, and even hail that we had right here in downtown Phoenix moving out. But good news for us, for your drive home from work tonight and to work again tomorrow, those clouds are going to dissipate and it's going to leave sunny conditions. As we can see, 70 degrees on Wednesday, and look at this, 83 degrees on Friday. That is such a big increase in temperature and perfect conditions if your kids have spring break. You can hang out by the pool, and those temperatures will keep into the rest of your weekend, but the clouds will be coming in on Saturday and Sunday. Allison Gargaro, Cronkite Weather.
Cowboys of color have long been left out of Western history, but an annual celebration is trying to change that.
Coming up on Cronkite News, how a rodeo in Chandler is bringing together minorities in the bull riding world.
Heaven knows you're a dreamer. Don't hide it from anyone. Don't hide it from anyone. Hey, would you believe me if I said
Well, Mardi Gras is coming to a close after a day full of celebration in the French Quarter of New Orleans. The first parade there took place back in 1837. Now nearly 1.5 million people typically show up to party on the last day before the Christian Lenten season begins.
We've all seen Western movies and TV shows, but how many of those cowboys or cowgirls were of color? As Courtney Columbus discovered, up to 1 in 4 American cowboys were black, and a popular event in the Valley celebrates their heritage.
Expert riders maneuver horses at full speed in a dusty arena on the Gila River Indian Reservation. But look closely and you'll see these are cowboys and cowgirls of color.
As African American, it brings us together, first and foremost.
Thousands came out to appreciate the bull riding, steer wrestling, and women's barrel racing at the annual Arizona Black Rodeo.
It's the way to, acknowledge the town that, black cowboys are for real.
One of the things that, a lot of people forget in our country is the African American cowboys.
The atmosphere at this rodeo reminded Bobby Rodriguez of his family's native country.
My family is in Brazil, and Brazilian rodeo is somewhat like this, a lot of dancing, a lot of good music.
It's Charlie Sampson's 3rd time at this event, but his involvement in rodeo goes back more than 4 decades.
Get on this one. Come here, little lady. After all the years of training to be a bull rider, I lucked out and won a World's Championship in '82, but I was fortunate to be the first man of color to win a championship in professional rodeo. What a great honor.
Phoenix resident Kim Stewart attended the rodeo for the first time this year.
Just the overall event was wonderful. Watching everyone, the children, the women, cowgirls were awesome. They're so strong and fearless.
Although most of the participants were black, the rodeo was of course open to people of all races.
Rodeo has no color line.
In Chandler, Courtney Columbus, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton talks about how new immigration actions from the White House are impacting his city. And we'll meet a local principal recognized for turning around poorly performing schools.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next NewsHour, previewing President Donald Trump's address to a joint session of Congress. That's Tuesday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from
Yupa's Thai Kitchen in Tempe features fresh, authentic Thai cuisine and vegetarian Thai dishes served in a homeland-style decor atmosphere. Open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Information at 480-839-0576.
February 28, 2017. President Donald Trump in his first address to a joint session of Congress, laying out his agenda and sharing his vision for the way forward. Join PBS NewsHour for live coverage and analysis of the speech. Coverage you won't find anywhere else. That's President Trump's first address to Congress. Tonight, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, only on PBS.
Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
Join Arizona PBS for the culinary event of the year.